We don't use a username and password to sign in into government or banking site. Instead, it asks for certificate. So, who creates the certificate, where it's stored, and how it's validated? To understand that, I built a simple demo application that issues client certificates and then uses these certificates in order to authenticate user in their application. So the generic flow is following. Let's say that it's me, and we have couple of websites where my data is stored, but I don't use username and password to access the data. Instead, I go to some certificate authority where certificate is issued, and then I save this certificate into my PC in order then to be used to access or authenticate myself or authorize myself into some websites. So the scope of the demo is following. I have a web application, and this application basically has two areas: admin area and like a user data area. In the admin area, I have like admin user login in order to manage list of users and also issue certificates and then assign user data with that certificate issued. I also have a couple other applications, and then we'll make a demo of the standalone Node.js app with certificate authentication, and also Dotnet Web API, which already has an authentication with a username and password. I will just add certificate authentication and connect certificate authentication with token-based authentication. Whole demo will be deployed into little standalone Kubernetes cluster with one control plane and with a three worker nodes. So as a beginning, what I have basically nothing. And what I will try to do, I will start creating my nodes. My Kubernetes cluster is ready. Let's check what we have in Podman. We have control plane and three worker nodes. And right now it has nothing deployed in it. When images are ready, I can start deployment. Let's verify what has been deployed. We have our web application and couple related demo projects. Let's see if we have an access to it. Yup, cool. And finally, let's run a little verification script to check if whole system is healthy. All good. Let's recap what we deployed. So we have a Kubernetes cluster with a web application, which acts as a certificate authority, has list of users and issues certificate for each user, and saves some data in a Postgres database in its own schema. We also have a Node.js application which uses certificate in order to authenticate user and provide user-related data. And finally, we have Web API deployed, which has both token-based authentication and certificate authentication. All of this being deployed to Kubernetes cluster and healthy. Let's start issuing certificates for some users. Let's log in into certificate authority demo application, and we will log in with pre-created admin credentials. Our admin has list of users and I can create new one. For that user, I can generate certificate. In order to generate certificate, I need to create a certificate password, and then I can download certificate file. Here is my certificate file for a user. I will double click on it and install into my local PC. Yeah, path is good. I will set the password I defined during the creation of a certificate. Proceed with installation process. After the certificate is installed, I can check it exists in my computer. I will refresh personal certificates, and here I have certificate for a demo user. Let's verify that this certificate actually works. To test a certificate, I will open my admin application and try to log in as user. And here it asks me to provide a certificate, exactly the one I just installed. When I gave it a certificate, I can log in as user. It doesn't ask for any kind of credentials, and instead it already grabs some information from the certificate. I even can have my own data for that specific user. Let's create something. User1 data create. Let's check if this data was created by the specific user. I will refresh my database connection after the deployment. Let's check users schema. We have data and exactly the row I created for that user with a user ID saved per this one user with 663. Which one user it is, I can check in my users table, user ID 663, my user information, and information about certificate, thumbprint and serial number. Now this certificate is installed into user PC, into certificate storage, and this certificate is used when we access to the web application. Let's try another one web application, which is in this case Node.js application, and this is home page for the Node application, which immediately asks to log in with a certificate. In order to be logged in, I will provide which certificate to use. And for my demo one user, I see that I was authenticated and I even have my own user related data. My Node.js app uses a JSON file in order to save user related data, and for demo user 1 I have 3 personal nodes, exactly what I see here after the authentication. So for the demo user 1 I have personal nodes assigned. Okay, that's all for the web apps, but what about web API? I have web API with a bare authentication, but also bare authentication can use certificate. That's my web API. I already have username and password authentication. Let's try to call web API. Here is a health endpoint which works correctly. Now I have my own users database for the web API. Here it is. It has its own users table, which is empty right now, and to-do items for each user, which is empty as well. So I will start using my user register API call, demo user1 with some random password. I can see that user created. Here is user ID. I will try to log in with that user. Let me replace user ID and try to log in. Here is my bearer token. I will grab that token and try to create some web API calls. For example, let's try to get to the items for a user. And of course it failed. For 3 forbidden, I provide a token, but I don't provide certificate. In order to provide certificate for Visual Studio Code, I need in the settings file for my Podman published ports, for my web API, say which exact certificate I will use and the password. I will save my settings and let's try to get a web API for that user. Let's try to get list of all to-do items for that user, which is empty right now. We of course can create new to-do item. Here it is created. Let's get a list of all to-do items. Here it is. And in the database for the user with ID E8F, we have one to-do item. So as a recap, we have a web application which issues certificates. We install certificate into user PC and then can use this certificate for different type of applications.